You want to get started?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SAP. Your boy Dave here with Tasha, Courtney, and Nikki Howard.
Hey.
Welcome.
And fuck off. Don't worry about the video.
I didn't even look for a second.
It's just something. It's just like the voyeurism. It's there, but we don't need to worry about it.
For sure.
Now
the ring light is good for that.
Oh yeah, isn't the ring light beautiful?
It's great.
Every episode we've ever done, I got 2 new lights shining up the back here.
He's gone crazy with the LEDs.
Cinematic.
He's had one here for a long time, and I always turn it away from me because I feel like it blinds me. So I turn it the other direction, and then this morning or yesterday, 2 new LEDs showed up in the mail.
Amazon Prime.
Of course.
There's the
Amazon
box right
Prime
there.
now I need them.
But now
we were at a wedding over the weekend, and they, you know how they dress it up, it's in a banquet hall or whatever, and he was like, those LEDs are really nice. I'm talking about the LEDs they had in the window.
Bride looks great, but check out these lights, babe.
I was gonna talk to the DJ about them because they had this reveal where they brought up the as soon as the sun went down, they had these giant windows, and they raised the blinds on the windows, and these LEDs showed up, and I was like, man, this guy's gonna kill tonight. And he did. He was a great DJ.
You think the DJ is responsible for the lights?
Fuck yeah, he brought those lights.
Set design.
Because look at it. I mean, 99% of our audience listens only. But if you're viewing this right now, I mean, we have some real we need.
Everybody's gonna go to YouTube to check it out.
Check it out.
But now we gotta paint the walls because you realize how dirty the walls are once you just shine them with lights. But anyway. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here.
I'm so happy you're here. Now you've worked with Arsenic, and Tasha's worked with Arsenic.
Yeah, I feel like I must have seen you at a party, and we just were never introduced.
Maybe I like to go to things for the
1 minute.
when they start, and then be like, hey, and then I leave immediately.
Yeah,
I drive there, which is a sign of I'm not a good time.
I drive. I always drive because I don't drink.
Yeah,
so
me either.
I just show up and I say hello and shake a few hands.
Yeah.
And there's a barbecue
mayor.
this weekend. Are you going to be there?
Where?
A barbecue this weekend or a party this weekend? Something happening this weekend?
I just got a text on my way here, but
that's probably what it is.
I'm not going to be there.
Not to shit on them, but I feel like that's our last place we go. It's such a nice place, Billy. They're all nice people, but also you gotta take your paid jobs and this and that. And they're kind of like a work with photographers, shoot for things, but
I love Billy, but I'm just listen, you know where I'm at with this shit. He's like, I feel you. I'm like,
I feel like you guys are both road dogs. You've done it for a minute.
Yeah.
Not getting naked, fam. See you later.
That's the episode, everybody.
I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that.
Well,
wow, we're on the same level. I didn't know. Wow, this is cool. Okay.
Tasha, before you got here, we were talking as we always do our pre-podcast chat. We're talking about some of our friends who have gigantic Patreons and how they'll sell their
underwear,
lingerie and whatever.
I was saying I would be so wealthy if I had no morals.
I know. Or no parents.
Yeah.
if I didn't have anyone to make me stay in line.
It's true.
Well, there's this one lady who took a photo of like a hand bra tit photo
she sounds
on an
a nice lady.
Nice lady. Notice how progressive I am. I called her a lady, not a girl. But she took a nipple photo in an airplane, and it went viral. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yes, because someone was like, "Is this you?" A friend of mine was like, "Is this you?" I'm like,
but
do you not know me?
Yeah, you don't know what I look like.
That's that girl. But she's also got, she probably hit 1 million followers now or whatever. And it's
of course, and that's what matters.
Well, there's a thing. There's sort of a thing where you got to go.
But I just
how far?
imagine, we were on planes a bunch this weekend. We were sitting next to a nice old lady or a nice old man. Just imagine, someone looks over at exactly that time, and then you're kicked off the flight.
Yeah.
And an air marshal arrests you, and you're banned from United Airlines, and that's your life now.
Then you got 2 million followers from that.
And if there's a kid in the seat behind you, you're probably a sex offender too.
Yeah.
Oh, the sex
just
offender
because
thing,
you flashed your boob to get
imagine?
a good Instagram photo.
God, life ruiner.
The consequence. I think about consequences.
I do too. Yeah.
Well, so Nikki has just started doing stand up amongst your other things that you got going on. Which, by the way, your Instagram, I can't look at her videos because she runs 7 miles by 7 a.m. You'll literally look at her video and you'll still be in bed fuck, man, I gotta get my day started.
Wow,
I can't do enough.
Why do you get up that early? What's going on?
I just want to do everything I can do, and then I
do you
wonder
go to bed
why.
early?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm why is nothing happening yet? In my career, no one's paying
I'm
me
gonna
to do stuff.
compensate by being very fit.
I'm trying to just like do I'm like, if I go to bed early, I can wake up early and then I can like work out and then, you know, I can go to Ralph's before it's crowded.
You
which
feel
is
productive.
Cool. Yeah, very.
Do you feel like you're obsessive with sort of what you get into?
Everything.
Yeah. Well, so aside from running, you've got the podcast. I wrote it down. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom podcast.
That's it.
So you're a podcaster now. You're in the stand-up world. What else is what are your other obsessions?
Writing sketches with Stevie.
Okay, great.
Stevie trying to write.
That's where I first. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
before we met at open mic. So we tried to get Stevie on a few times, but you know our schedules have been all over the place. And I saw like a younger version of me because I used to do sketches before I did stand up, and I was like, oh, this dude's doing. He's making sketch. When you make projects, people show up. People like take you seriously, like Adam, like Divine, like that's he kind of like made shit happen for himself, and like he reminded me that he's like probably 10 years younger than me, but he's making some cool shit, and that's why I was thinking like, oh, I need to get back into that world where you just say fuck it and make stuff, because when you do stand up, you sort of like present things to the audience, and then you keep doing that, but like you don't show it to the greater world the way you can on YouTube or something.
And you can't have like tangible like notes. I feel like people are very behind a screen. People will really tell you how they feel about your stuff. So if you write something and you put it on YouTube, people will be like, this is trash. Or they'll be like, this is really funny.
But you must, I mean, like, where did you get your following from? You're sitting at like 250,000 Instagram followers. They didn't show up out of nowhere.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. I was like, I don't want to do Instagram. Who cares? I didn't get it when it first came. I've been modeling for like 11 years. I'm like really at the end of my rope here.
You're like barely hanging. You're so fed up.
You guys are like long lost. This feels like what's that Lindsay Lohan movie where they separate
Parent Trap.
This is like a parent trip because you're both a road dogs.
So over it. So over it. I just like roll my eyes constantly. I'm constantly like every minute that sucks at a job. I'm just like, how many dollars is that? Like just adding. You got to do what you can do to get through.
Yeah. I'm just like.
So you went well into the world before Instagram came out and all that.
And then a friend of mine was like, I'm making like $2,000 a month on Instagram, and I was like, tell me more. And she was like, yeah, and just like, I was like, well, what do you do? She was like, I don't know, I just post photos. You have a bunch of photos? And I was like, all right. So then I just posted a bunch of photos consistently.
Yeah. At your peak, I don't know if you're still doing it all the time. Were you doing like once a day, 3 times a day?
No, I was doing like once a day.
Once a day.
Yeah. And then I was like stressing myself out. And then.
Yeah.
Were you getting obsessive with who's liking it and trying to fight the algorithm and all that?
Well, now this algorithm is like, I've just given up. I've also like stopped. Like I was posting like pictures, like kind of like sexy pictures that I thought people would want, and it just got so monotonous, and it felt like a chore, and it's not who I am.
Yeah.
And
we were just talking about this on the last episode, how much I hate Instagram.
Yeah.
Tasha basically just quit it.
Yeah.
For the
like
most part.
2 years.
She went from like, we started dating and she had, probably less than 1,000 followers. And then probably by the end of the year, she was like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then she kind of just was like, fuck it. And I was also like, fuck it. Because as much as I want to be Instagram boyfriend, it's like it would cause that the anxiety existed on the trying to take the perfect thing.
Oh yeah.
And then also,
but people don't understand what a time suck it is too. Like those, we have thousands of pictures just like in files places, but you still have to like sort through them. You have to think about it. You have to do a caption, or you have to be testing all the time because you never get photos from anything. So it becomes like a huge chore. Like at the least amount of time, it's going to be 20 minutes every day at the very least amount of time.
Yeah, I'm trying to like organize I'm like,
but it's a profit.
It
is.
You
can make money off of it.
And now it's like you need a following for like I act, so like any like union jobs, or like
they're prioritizing
your Instagram following. I'm like, what if I graduated from Juilliard and was perfect for this role? Like it wouldn't matter.
You're like, cool. I didn't, but what if did you?
No, I didn't. Okay. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, if someone is better for this role, then and I'd have more follow. I feel it's such an injustice.
This is the problem. Is it
injustice? Like for me, I don't know.
It whittles everything down because Instagram, it's a shitty version of whatever beautiful photo you've already taken. I mean, we literally did a print job together and we're on a billboard, and the only copy we have of it was the Instagram.
Someone's cell phone.
It's like, what the fuck? This was taken with a $60,000 camera, and it's literally up there and looks worse than an iPhone photo. And it's like, but so it whittles you down to note. I mean, when it was just Instagram was just photos, it would whittle you down to like no charisma, and like no one was getting to see Tasha for like what she is, which is like
you miss out on personality. I mean, now with stories you get some of that, but again, then that's just another thing you have to do every day, and every time you go anywhere, you're like, oh, I have to take a picture. I'm in a cool place, otherwise it didn't happen.
I know, it's like
But Tasha's also. She'll look at a photo I'll take a photo of her and it'll get more likes than any of her other photos because it's a cute photo. But every picture you can find a reason why you hate it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the hard part is like
arm fat, man. Arm fat's a thing. You got to stand with your arms out.
You got to do this 5 a.m. gym.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem. I'm not in the gym.
But you know what it is? Then I'm like, look at the fucking bags under my eyes. God damn it. Can we Photoshop those out? What's going on here?
I knew I'd gone too far when she posted a photo and I was like, I look good in this photo. And she's like, I Shazammed your stomach or you like auto-tuned my stomach or whatever. And I was like, oh man, you definitely got rid of my belly.
Look how great I look.
Scoot.
But yeah, it's not photoshopping if you go scoot in the photo.
No, of course not.
But also, you know, like I think now we were at our parents' house in a hot tub, and I'm like, you really should get going again with it. It's not like you're not over the hill. You're not at an age where like you can't go.
Yeah, but to your point, like algorithm is set against you now. It's very hard these days to grow your following, and it's very hard to get like a good amount of likes. I get less likes than ever before.
Me too. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's also like now I just started posting shit that like. I'm just like, I want to post this. Like, I don't really give a fuck. If like you want to look at it, fine. And, like, I really try and do this exercise of posting where I'm like, I'm gonna write one funny thing for my caption. Like that's completely
I'm gonna read
irrelevant.
one of them. I'm gonna read.
Wow.
I never have my phone out, but
Spotlight's
I want to because it's funny because I don't know you, and it's funny that you kind of like figure this out about her. All right, so Tasha, just read the caption. There's an ass photo that you've got there.
Oh, sure.
I tried doing that thing. Should we? Nobody's going to be able to see it.
It's fine.
I tried doing that thing where you don't smile for your license photo so you look cool. And instead, I look like I just got convicted on 4 counts of heroin possession. Anyway, here's a photo Max Reyes took of me in little C bikinis looking like I'm finally making some progress with my squat.
I just like that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, this chick's batshit crazy. She's just posting. You're like the Phil Hanley just posting random facts.
They're all just nothing is relevant.
It doesn't matter.
That's
but it's
great.
still fun. Those are you post like funny premises, but it's funny that it's not like it's just like fuck it, take it, audience pawns.
Bots. No, I don't know, but it's like I'm trying to like make it fun for me, but also like I don't know, I try and remember like that it's a tool and it can be great, but also it's not life, and like there's other shit,
and you don't have to get so caught up in it. You can post what you want. That's sort of the attitude that I've tried to take lately too. Is just like, I don't care if this is not going to perform. I don't care if this is going to get 300 likes. Like,
detachment's the strongest kind of tool you can have. You walk into a casting and you're like, man, fuck these people.
I feel like it's more authentic because I'm not just like all ass photos or just all bikini photos. Like that's not realistic. I'm not in a bikini every day, so like
I live in a bikini 24/7.
Found me like this and just like you bent like a pretzel to look perfect, and it's guys we don't have that issue, but also like we don't like did you find your audience followed you to your podcast? Were they willing to I mean, it sounds so degrading to even ask this, but were they willing to listen to you, or were they just like
no, that's a great point. I was like, people are gonna watch this because like I'm very self-aware, and like what I was like, people are going to watch it because we are like 2 girls. Like I was like, Sydney wear a low cut shirt. Obviously that was implied when we have a YouTube channel that's like tits out. Sell yourself. But I was like, if we get them there and then we start talking, like, you know,
maybe they'll stick around.
Yeah, and we have like, you know, those are like the toughest critics. Like people are coming just to be like, I can't wait to watch this shit show. And we got a comment once that was like, I honestly thought this was gonna be awful, but it wasn't that bad, and I was like, that's a win. Like, it wasn't even it wasn't even like a solid compliment, but I was like, this guy was coming in here to like really talk shit, and it wasn't that bad, and I'm like so over the moon about that.
That's like your best Yelp. It just wasn't bad at all. I mean, that's like we as a guy, we don't have to deal with our audience kind of looking at us one way, and then you know what I mean. Like as like we've had some. I mean, the podcast itself hasn't had really any much negativity because people find it, they listen for an hour, and it's like if you don't like us after an hour, you probably either move on. You know what I mean? Like you don't hate listen for that long. You can hate look at a photo and be like, fuck this. But like podcasting almost never gets sort of like goes viral for like saying the wrong thing because there's context built in, and it's like you're either with us or you're not. So our audience is like on board, good people. They're like, you know what I mean? We rarely ever, almost never have gotten someone who has written in and been like, hey, I used to like you, but then you said this one thing. It's like, no, if they want to correct me, they love me. They go, I love you, but like that was wrong. Okay, cool, but like I'll fix it and we'll be good, right? It's like a friendship versus other mediums where it's like people on Twitter, they just want to like hate fuck. You just want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to Google like your name and fag and then call you out on, you know what I mean? They want to just like do the simple work of being outraged, but it's really hard in a podcast to be outraged.
Yeah, Instagram has that sort of like lurker quality where like people will follow you even though they don't like you necessarily. Maybe they like are sort of interested in what you're up to, or they're like a little jealous or whatever. I totally follow people that I'm just jealous of.
The sole purpose
like
is
I'm gonna scroll right past that, but I still follow them.
I don't want our audience to think that
we're terrible
well
people.
they're all over the world. They're so you know what I mean? You ever look at a map of where your audience is, you're like, I can't even pronounce that country, but some random person like, this is the English they hear is us. They think everyone's just the Kentucky and the Rhode Island guy talking, but I don't want that. We do talk a lot about social media and things like that, and it can be obsessive. But it's like I also know the success stories of podcasts. Like the guys we fucked. Like the Vanity Fair article said that they were bought out for $4 million to host on a private platform now, and it's like. They've done my podcast. I've done open mics with them, and I'm not saying it to be bitter. I'm like, I want to reverse engineer that.
Yeah,
I want to know what that is because I don't need $4 million. But like today, we got a new Patreon person for
congratulations,
and it was an $8 tier, and they instead donated $10.
That's amazing.
Wow,
I know.
That's so nice.
That's so amazing. And anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse with it, but it's like those little joys. It's not about. You know, but I do tell people like I believe with this and with stand up that they're like my home will be bought off of my own our own creativity, not the shit side jobs we do that only pay you the value of anybody who could do those side jobs. Right. And you know, like so like when we break down Instagram and this and that, it's like, well, you know, you want us you know, hack that following. You know, I like today made a meme, you know, I made like those videos for the first time where you type in what was said. I was like, I have a business degree. What am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, if 1,000 people, like I do Bachelor recap videos, Oz, one of our Patreon guys, one of our top dogs, said he found me because he watches Bachelor recap videos. And I was like, I guess I got to keep on doing that.
Yeah.
Because if that's the audience that pulls in here, then that's what it is. And that's a guy who might come to my show every time I'm in town.
just one at a time.
That's what it is, really. Mm-hmm. But it's cool. Like, I don't know. Like, as much as I, like, hate it sometimes, I really, like, I think it's cool that we have that as an option among, like, YouTube and, like, doing shows and, like, podcasting. There's just so many things you can do. But I'm tired because I'm like trying to do all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe if I just do all of the things, like I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and like just do it all, then like one of those things has to pan out.
Yeah, something will
on
stick
the wall.
for sure.
Just throw it on the wall.
And now it's like 6:30. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Well, I'll write like a genius, you know, joke or whatever, and then they'll laugh at the wrong part, and I'll be like, okay, you're right. It's not me. You're right. I just, you know, what you think is what people want. It's just we have to constantly experiment because we never know. Yeah. Like, so we've got device free time, which is DFT. We have to make ourselves. I go, babe, DFT, because she'll be like
acronym.
I want
and
credit.
We have
for that
PBR, which is pre-bedtime ritual, which is like the nighttime cleanup, so that we don't wake up to like messy house.
Well, we were fighting a lot because I will just pass out and then that's it, and I'll roll into bed. Sure. And if I didn't get clothes off, it didn't happen, or if shit didn't happen. But like Tasha's like, she wants the house clean so she can wake up to a clean house.
I love you. I'm the same way.
I can't focus even now, and I know that like obviously I wasn't here to like help Dave with any of the like picking things up, but like when there are like boxes everywhere and like things just out of place, like it makes it really hard for me to focus.
You should see me Christmas morning. People are like enjoying their gifts. I'm like breaking down boxes, putting the box. I'm not even there. I'm like Exacto knife. Everything is like they're aligned perfectly. Like you still have gifts. I'm like, this is my present now. Yeah, the gift of organization.
I think the biggest compliment I got Christmas was I maybe it was Christmas or birthday, I don't remember, but I unboxed a present and like folded, and I could care less. I'm gonna rip it open upside down. Like if I want to open a bag of apples, it's coming out upside down.
It's so scraggly, like you can't fold it back up. I'm like a delicately open so that it's like perfect along the seam.
Well, there's a perforation.
Yeah,
if
they make it easy.
I know.
You can scissors the corner. Like,
and I'll know if she just like opens up a cereal that I've already gotten to. No matter what I do, she's gonna be like, babe, what the fuck? And I'll be like,
an animal, like raccoons got in here.
See, I'm like that, but everything else is like everything else is pristine. But it's because it's not my cereal, and like I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, I'm hungry. My boyfriend just has like good snacks, which I don't buy, so I'm like, Wheat Thins, and I'm just like in the dark, like trying not to be heard. And then he's like, what is going on? Like, what did you do to the bag?
Have you guys had to have these types of conversations to like do PBR or DFT to like has it been okay? So what's that process like?
The process is I'm so insane and I cannot imagine living with me because I'm like, well, now I have to dust the ceiling. Like I'm like everything is so perfectly like, and I realize nobody is like that. Like it's very,
you'd be surprised actually. There are people like that out there, like us out there.
I can't imagine living with me. So like, but he is very like, he's clean, but not to the level of like, but he's like, listen, if I leave a guitar on the couch, it's because I want it to be on the couch. I know it's there. It's not a mess. Like, just leave the guitar there. Like, is that okay? And I'm like, it's okay. I can do that. I can do that. And like, it's a compromise.
It's annoying. Yeah. My gym shorts went 3 different places to the laundry yesterday. You moved them to the.
He took them off and they were like on.
Yeah, but
like
we were unpacking
the dresser or whatever. But it was the last thing. Like everything else was done, and he had moved on. He was, thank you very much, babe.
He's moved on.
He was mopping the bathroom, so I didn't want to go in there and like step on the wet to put his clothes in the dirty clothes. So I like noticed that he was in there, and I set them on the chair that's like in the office by the bathroom,
hoping he would notice and do something with them.
Well, I just,
they were on top of my dresser to start. You know what I mean? You walked them in several stations.
But the point was that I was just trying to put them where they belong, in the dirty clothes. But there were a couple stops along the way. Why is this a big deal?
It's crazy what she thinks is dirty versus my dirty. Like those, you know what I mean? They a couple more workouts. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Yeah.
But the point is that you learn. Like, look. There's plenty of relationships where if you're just not that into it, you don't deal with someone's bullshit and you get out.
Oh yeah, that's a good like test. A tell in the beginning of a relationship is like, is this person into this? Are they gonna deal with my quirks? You know,
I struggle sometimes.
Are you gonna deal with this person's quirks?
Tasha sees red. Like sometimes she's in the reptilian mode where there's no rational. Like she's just. Like whatever's in that mind, it's going in a direction. I just got to get out of the way. And I've had to learn, and people go, I've had to learn to just like not confront you in those moments and be like, she's got to burn off whatever steam she's burning off, and then whatever, and I'll make a joke about it later. But like, I'm not trying to walk on eggshells. There's just different triggers you have to put up with. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, I don't know. I might be annoying in some ways because I don't like see the OCD sort of like world you have, but I'm also pretty easygoing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, I don't have to have it one way and you do it the other way.
But I put up with socks all over the floor and gym shorts sitting out. So I'm doing some work too here.
I know it's been a lot of work, and I just have to remember that it's all for like a serenity and a good thing.
Serenity now. It's communication. It's all about communication. It really is, because like, I mean, there are times when I'm so sensitive. I'm the most sensitive human being on the planet. If someone is having a bad day and then they walk in the room, I'm like, what did I do? Like, it's just like everything is about
Would you call
me.
yourself an empath? Do you feel other people's energies?
I feel like it's my fault.
Yeah.
But that's from childhood. That's a different podcast.
No, it's this one actually.
We'll bring some therapists in.
Yeah. So I'm like, but I'm always like, I just want everyone to be in a good mood. So I am always like, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, what's happening? And like, it's not about me. I've realized. So there were a lot of arguments about like, I don't want to talk about this now. No, now I'm like, he's feeling guilty because now I'm in a bad mood because I think it's about me and he's not telling me, when really like he's actually in a bad mood about this, and now he has to worry about me, and now I'm upset. So I'm like trying to just let him like feel his feelings, and then I'm like, he'll come around and talk to me about it. But yeah, it's like a whole.
But that's like the sort of cliche that like the woman always wants to know what's wrong and the guy just wants to be in the garage tinkering. But I'm the woman who wants to know what's wrong. Tasha's the counter dependent. Like it goes either way. It's like a yin yang thing. Like it's a give and a take. So there's always, you can both be equally codependent, but that would probably be draining on our, like both people are like, what, constantly, worrying, it takes some give in some instances and some receive.
Yeah. That makes us a good balance.
It's true.
But you also don't learn what's wrong until you're putting the fire out. Like there's no preventive way to be like, all right, we're going to learn all your triggers. They're triggers because you have to experience them.
Yeah.
And sometimes like years, like, cause
that's part of the process.
We're not we're not on airplanes every day. So it's not every day that we learn how to deal with it, but it is a huge red flag when we travel because Tasha wants to be like hours, beforehand, ready to go, the house immaculate, like all these different things. And it's good. That's totally fine. But I've had to learn that.
Yeah.
Where it used to just show up as her being like coming off like a raging cunt.
Sure.
Coming off that way, not calling you it, but calling you it. and then it's so like our first trip home to visit our parents, that anxiety's there, and like we're yelling at each other, and it's bad. And I'm meeting her mom, and she's not even talking to me, and but I'm like, it's not like she's a bad person. It's just we didn't deal with the heightened thing. Like we were so happy at this wedding. That was the happiest ever. You didn't have work to deal with. And then what is it? Second we get home last night, you're seeing red, babe. You were ready to murder me. We were just in love at the wedding, but now you got shit to worry about.
Yeah, just trying to organize things to be the best they can be. So for me, this is what Dave is talking about. So we got last night. Okay, recap real quick.
Make it quick.
So I'm going to try my best. Feeling a little scattered. We woke up in Kentucky, East Coast time, 5 a.m. there. So that equates to 2 a.m. here.
Sure.
Flew home. I went straight to work because I had a fitting yesterday. And then he had a show in Santa Barbara. I have friends that live in Santa Barbara. They just had a baby. I haven't seen them in ages. I wanted to drop off a gift. So I'm going to go to Santa Barbara too, even though I'm beat. I'm so exhausted. And I know I have a full day of work today, but like you got to do it, right? So we drove up to Santa Barbara. We took my car. I have a Prius, better gas mileage, right? We took my car to Santa Barbara. I also can't drink. So I'm driving home. Right. He had beers at the show. So
Tasha's expecting. That's why we're having a kid, everybody.
No, we're not.
That's not true. She got Lyme disease. She can't drink. She's on antibiotics.
Anyway,
really?
So
my best friend had that.
Lyme disease?
Yeah.
Did she get over it?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, that's good. I was
my other best friend has Zika. Not over it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Different. Sorry. Go on.
Wow. Do they have her on antibiotics for that too?
No, she's literally like making so much money giving her plasma for research and like,
really?
Oh, she's bawling out.
Get that Zika money?
Yeah, because they like actually want to do research on Zika. Yeah, meanwhile, they're trying to bury Lyme disease. Like it's not a thing.
I know.
Yikes.
Sorry.
Oh, man, I'm a little jealous. I could have gotten Zika, man.
She could get you a solid drug.
Those are Tasha's pills every day.
No, I don't even want to talk about it.
But you could get it's
we got to get that plasma money. Let's do it.
Whatever.
Fuck Instagram. That plasma money. That line cash.
Oh.
Anyway, we were happy.
So
In-N-Out
we're
Burger,
driving home.
We get home.
Yeah. But then it's like I was like getting so tired on the road. You know how sometimes like you like just go to look at like what's the air temperature set at? And then like in the millisecond,
you're like,
it feels like a millisecond, but you're like all over the lane. I was like, you know what? It's time for you to drive. And I immediately passed out on the passenger seat. So I was obviously
passed out, hit the recliner and go straight back. I'm never allowed to hit the recliner and go straight back.
It's her car.
I was so exhausted. Anyway, so we get home. It's street cleaning today here in Los Angeles. I have to work in the morning. He doesn't. He's parked on a non-street cleaning side and he tries to put me on the Tuesday side, and he's like, I'll wake up at 8 o'clock and go move your car. And I was like, go move my car. What? Drive it around for an hour.
Nice codependent guy.
No, it was a nice offer, but I'm also like, I don't want to, because he's just going to go park it super far.
Yeah.
And like when I wake up in the morning and I'm rushing to get out the door to go to my 4 back-to-back jobs, it's like I don't want to have to walk 15 minutes through homeless town to get to my car. I also don't want to not know where my car is. You know, it's just like there's a lot of extra
people
factors
that don't live
there.
Here don't understand. You might open your car into somebody's tent. Like we're not like homeless bashing,
you
but
might
it's like,
open your car to somebody.
Yeah, you literally.
Yeah, you just might. It's so it was like I wanted to like get rid of those X factors that were going to make my morning more complicated by just finding a spot tonight. So if that means making 2 laps and waiting, maybe somebody's going to leave, or swapping our cars, which Dave did. It was very nice.
Well, this sounds perfectly fine. How could there be any rage? How could there be any issues with this?
You were not on the same page as me. You just started yelling at me. We got home and he was like, there's no space for your car. And that was like what woke me up. No, and so I'm like disoriented.
If you can
and
see
he's not problem solving in the same way that like I want to problem solve. And he was getting mad at me for like taking too long to get out of the car.
No, do you know what this is like the perfect example of like a relationship?
Because it makes no sense.
No, because this is a relation. This is like we're thinking about so many things, and he's not thinking about anything
at all.
Except for like you now want him to move your car, but now he's like, the fuck's up with the car? And then now you're like, oh, what's up with the car? Like all of these.
But here's what happened.
That's the straw that broke the camel's back. He's like, what is this even about?
She didn't tell me. None of this came out of her mouth. It's just, you know what I mean? I got to read her eyebrow.
Of course.
I got to read that. It'd be like, oh, that means don't. So I'm just thinking, it's 10:30 at night. It's not late, but it's like, long day. So I'm like, let's just I want to get her inside. I'll deal with it later.
Yeah.
So we park. It's, not far away, but, around the block.
Yeah.
And then I get out of the car. I go into the trunk, and then I go back to the driver's side car, and she's just sitting there. I thought she was possessed.
I was trying to put my shoes on. The shoes were in the back. I took my shoes off. She was like her brain was gone, and she was just sitting there. She hadn't moved. And I go, all right, what's? I was putting the seat up. I was like, mind you, I was passed out. What's going on? I'm putting my shoes on. I'm getting my lunch box because it still has snacks from my day job in there.
Her neck just turns, and then she, and I go, okay. Oh my God. I'm not taking, like, you can't talk to me that way, but you are.
But you started it.
But it's the thing. And the point is that and I always like to look at the exact moment that, like, I like to just slice right into the issue. And the issue was, like, you would have preferred if we swapped cars and you got the spot and then I go put my car in bumfuck, which I did. But I was just like, in my mind, I was very altruistic and that I just wanted you to get home and
get your shower. And in hindsight, I totally understand what you were thinking, that was the best option. We just weren't on the same page. Simple as that.
But then I come inside after doing all this, and instead of apologizing, she just says something like sort of nice and quiet, like, oh, there's some drumming going on downstairs.
Somebody was having like freaking practice with their band, like in the apartment below us at midnight.
But I knew that was your way of saying I'm not going to silence treatment you. But to me, it's like you should have been like, babe, I kind of overreacted.
I thought you owed me an apology. I was waiting for an apology from you.
You need the time. You need to talk about it. Like, this is what my boyfriend and I, we argue. We don't argue, but we like. We talk for a very long time.
Oh, but I can't handle it.
I'm like,
this is where you two are different.
We're talking about this now, and he loves to talk. But he will beat a dead horse. Like
have him call me. I'll talk to him.
Yeah, 2 hours later, where I've heard the same thing 55 times.
You're saying the same thing over and over again. I got it on the first, and then I swear it'll be like an hour and a half of him just talking about the same thing, and I'm like, no, I got it. And he's like, well, you could have said that. I'm like, I did say that.
You got to repeat. If he says, Nikki, I don't feel loved when you do blah, blah, blah. You have to say, I hear that you don't feel loved when I blah, blah, blah. And then.
No. And then he'll be like, well, the thing is, like, here's an example. And then, like, but then he's like, I don't feel loved. It's like, not necessarily that, but like, he just says, it's like he can't hear me over his own thoughts that he's verbalizing. So
like he wants to make sure you really got it. So he's going to explain it 4 ways.
I got
the same thing.
I think I like this guy.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's like he wants you to know how he feels.
Absolutely.
And imagine that's so much better. And we sometimes I know Tasha, you don't do this to like manipulate me, but sometimes you'll go silent on me, and that's to me, like, to a codependent, that's like waterboarding me when you're not talking back to me.
It's good to make sure, like, obviously the ultimate goal is we want to understand each other.
Yeah.
We want to be able to like know what the other person is thinking, be prepared to manage street parking, late night, like, we want to be on the same page. So it's good to know how each other feel, but also like it's such a waste of time to spend 4 hours repeating yourself. So maybe we should like take a little bit of time, not silent treatment, never going to talk about it, but just take a little time, take a little breather, get nice and calm.
You got to tell me that.
Few steps back, process our own thoughts so that we can succinctly tell them to each other.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to break up with someone over how close I parked to the curb or not. You know what I mean?
True.
That's the thing, is like we've been able to sort of like hack it in a way where we talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
But like I can't tell you how many relationships that could have like a happy family have been ruined because
over
people,
like a tiny thing. Well, but that's because somebody's not as invested. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's like you gotta kind of, I mean, I'm like always ready to talk about it because I can't live in a state of like someone might not be like 100% loving me constantly. So I'm like, we'll talk now. I don't even care about my emotions. How are you feeling? But he can get very like angry and yell, which is not good for me. I will cry. It's about nothing. I'm like, why are you not loving me? He's like, it's not about you. So he will do this thing where now he didn't always do this, but he'll like be like, I'm gonna just leave this situation because I don't want to yell. So he'll leave, and then in that moment I'm like, he's gone, and I'll just sit there and I'll be like, okay, he'll come back, and then he'll come back and he'll be calm, and like he will have composed his thoughts in a way that's rational. He's like, this is how I feel about this, and then I can then
so much better than just having like a blowout
versus
sort of
punching
argument.
a wall, which punching a wall says the same thing in your own head. You're like, oh, fuck it. But it's like, and then you come off like the dick.
Yeah.
And then it's then that next level, and you can't sort of put it back in the box at that point. At least not that night. I never want a fight to last to the next day because I'm like, man, I really feel like this is two sentences away from being resolved.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, you know, it takes time to burn off. But, you know, it's good for him for like learning not, because by men, we think, you know, that we can, like with our guys, you know, sometimes it's the loudest person who wins.
Right.
It just doesn't work in a relationship. And if it does, do you really want to be dating a woman who like you're able to talk over and yell at until she's in submission?
Yeah.
Because some relationships, that's how it is, where like the guy just gets his way and she's like, oh, you know, Billy gets a little wild when he's out, you know. And it's like, I don't want that to be the case, but I also don't want a fight to ever last a second longer than it has to.
Yeah.
Because you just know what's good on the other side. And like you, my whole day, first of all, the first thing to go is creativity. I can't be creative. I can't do anything in the moment if I don't think Tasha's happy with me.
Yeah.
And I know it's codependent to like feel that way, but look, you're not going to get rid of it. You're not going to get rid of who you are. You're imprinted that way. The best case scenario is like how to manage it, how to let your significant other know, like, these are my triggers. I'm not saying change who you are, but like, you know, sending me a winky face lets me know we're cool after a situation. I don't even need an apology. I'm not like an ego guy who's like, you gotta apologize and don't just say
I'm gonna save the Bitmoji that's like, we're cool. I'm just gonna like put that in favorites. We're cool.
Anything. I will read into it in a way that's like, okay, I guess we're good. Like you called me when I was at Smart and Final, and I was like, okay, good. Tasha's happy. I didn't know you were gonna like work all day. I didn't know if you were like stressed out. You know what I mean? Like I can't. Yeah. And sometimes I'll imagine the worst case scenario, and they'd be like, hey babe, and I'm like, oh cool, we're good. And it sounds so pathetic. It sounds so pathetic to come off that way, but I don't think I'm going to change.
No, I mean, you can't. I think my mom's a therapist, so I think that's like really helped me a lot just in life. But I read into things so much like the same way. I'm like, I read into everything when it's not about anything. So that's like, I'm always like, make it clear. So here's a good example. My boyfriend, like, he hates when I call him or like ask him questions a lot in the morning, but I'm trying to be friendly. I'm like, hey, how's your day? Like, what's going on? Like, I've been up for 6 hours. I know it's only 8:00 in the morning, but we like had not an argument, but like in the beginning of our relationship when we moved in together, it was very like, I could tell he was mad and like I was just trying to be nice. And I'm like, well, what could this possibly be about? This is only love coming from me. So then I finally was like, why are you doing this? And then I forced him to like have a therapy session. He was like, I think it's because my mom used to ask me a lot of questions like growing up, and like that's how it would start my morning, or she would just call me all the time and it would just remind me of that. And like
it feels like nagging or something.
And when I'm just like, what are you doing today? So anyway, cut to like I meet his mom, and I'm not kidding, it's like, you're asleep, and she's like, what are you doing? What's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So now I'm like, okay, I can't really change who I am, but I can adjust. Like I can make a compromise. So I'm just kind of like aware of those certain triggers or whatever, where it's like, he doesn't like when I just like berate him with questions 8 a.m. That's fair. Even if I'm like, good morning.
Yeah. I hate,
Yeah, let me know when you're up.
How are you? That's me. Very passive aggressive.
Tasha will she'll call me to kill time in traffic.
Oh,
and
all the time.
And I was like, I know you want to talk to your best friend.
Yeah.
You got to go get another friend, Tasha, because I got to save stories for when I see you later.
Sure.
So like, and she'll be like, I'll be like, oh, where are you coming from? And I'll be like, oh, what time's your next job? And like, and me, I'm asking to be like, do I need to get off the elliptical or can I finish doing my workout? Because I'm talking to her on my beats like that asshole. And I'm like, you don't even have things to talk about. And then she's yelling at her traffic, and now I'm in traffic when I should be at the gym becoming a better version of myself. So I can come home.
But don't you think I've done a good job of not calling you just to kill time in traffic? Haven't I really scaled
Have you had
back?
this conversation?
Yeah.
No, we've had this one
day.
too. Yeah.
Because I just, I like to talk to people.
Yeah,
I'm going to be sitting in traffic for the next hour. I'm going to call my mom. I'm going to call my sister. I'm going to call my boyfriend. I'm going to call my girlfriends.
Maybe just think. Just like have a moment to yourself.
Sit in silence. I do that, and people call me crazy.
If it's a good song, I won't call.
But anyway, I never want Tasha to be like, to not pick up the phone and be like, and I never want her to be like, well, I don't want to bother him. It's like, you're not bothering me. You just have nothing to say. And I still like to check in with each other, but also like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like today, I was just like, hey, just letting you know I'm going to my last job. Like, I wanted to see what you're up to. He was in the checkout line. I was like, okay, I won't keep you. I don't have anything to say. Just,
just saying hi, and this is what I'm doing. Click. I know.
Totally.
I've done that. That is like my new thing now.
And I think that's allowed.
Look, totally fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love the art of the phone call. I love all that. But yeah, knowing you're about to see me and all that. Yeah. I like, if I have good news, I try to save it for in person.
Yeah.
I try to be like, guess what? Like, we got featured on iTunes. When I found that out, I actually think that was the day I met you, was when I found out.
Oh.
Because I was like anxious to tell people. I told Stevie. I told people. I was like, hey, guess what? People were like, we don't give a fuck. But I was like, I waited till I saw her to tell her, because it meant so much to me, and I didn't want her reaction on the phone to I wanted to be a part of it. And like, that's how it's, what like when the time comes that we get engaged and all that, I don't want to post that shit online till I've told everybody in person.
Sure.
I want that to be like, because fuck them.
Yeah.
How quickly can you burn through you'll get 1,000 likes on the photo, right? But then after that, it's like, they didn't get the chance to hug us and do all that,
Yeah.
It's like we're just struggling to get back to how it was just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Where you actually did shit in person.
Dial up, landlines.
Dial up. Now,
Boy, that was a simpler time, wasn't
it? Really
it?
was. Mom, get off the phone.
I know we're not going to talk much about this, but when I met you, your stand up was you were working out some jokes about going through a divorce.
Yeah, it's funny.
So if we can just and it come back on the podcast in the future, but I feel like it's still wrapping itself up. But tell us what's the deal?
Yeah. I got married and I didn't tell anyone, because I was like, I got engaged. This is what happened. I was dating someone for 9 years, in the military, deploying, and we were going to get married anyway. And so it was like, let's just get married now at the courthouse, and then we'll have a wedding. And I was like, okay, great. I just won't tell my mom, because she'll freak out.
She'll be mad that you did it without her.
And I wore yoga pants and had a Starbucks and was going to the courthouse. This is fun.
The most basic courthouse wedding.
It didn't even register to me that it was oh, this is illegal. The lady was doing passports and was like, I'll be right with you. Then put a robe on and was like, I'm going to marry you. I was like, cool. This is fun.
Did she have a Starbucks as well?
No, she didn't. But there was a witness who's some girl. I guess you can get that as a side gig. You
didn't even get your own witness?
No, no one knew. So anyway.
They just pulled someone out of the passport line and were like, hey, can you come watch this for a second?
I walked in and I looked at her and was like, so glad you could make it. That was my thought. I was like, this stranger, jokes. Anyway.
But the military really incentivizes you to be married.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you'd be dumb not to be married.
They won't tell you jack shit about anything. So I was just like, this is, and he was, going into some intense shit. So I was like, all right, let's just do that. Anyway, I was very young and not a person yet. So we were like, I would like a divorce, and I'm very non-confrontational. It's very hard for me. So whatever,
why, you had just grown apart or what?
I just didn't know who I was, and he was 10 years older than me. He was like, you don't know who you are. And I was like, I know who I am. We should get married. I'm very secure. And then I realized I was not a person yet.
How long
like,
did it take to go from A to B there?
Oh, it's like a very long, drawn out. I don't know. It took a long time, but not in a sense where I was like, I'm unhappy. I just wanted someone like to love me unconditionally and never leave me.
But you had been dating for 9 years. You decided to get married, and then like a year later you got divorced.
Yeah, well, I kind of was just like, his life was going in such a different path, and I was going back and forth to San Diego where he was based, and like I wasn't, even though he was never like, I don't want you to pursue your dreams, but it was very much like, this is gonna be geared towards.
Like his path is laid out, and his what he's doing is defined, and he's got his life plan. And like when you're still in limbo, it makes it so, not that it's like easier that way, but it just happens more that like you're gonna be the one that's like making the sacrifices. You're gonna be the one that's going.
You're gonna be
him.
you're a people pleaser, which is, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like you're a people pleaser, and when you're stretched from your calling, which unfortunately
it can distract you from your thing, from figuring out your thing.
Yeah. I just I didn't know what it was to be happy, and I didn't feel like I deserved happiness, and so I felt like I wanted everybody else to be happy, like place my value on their happiness. And then one day I was just like, is this my life? Am I just not ever happy? I'm like, this is what it's gonna be. And then I was just like a mess. Anyway,
gotta make a change.
Yeah, so we like tried to fill out the papers, and then it was like a really long time, like 2 years we didn't talk. And then my mom was like, well, I had to tell my mom I got married and also divorced, which was super fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah. My brother had coincidentally also got a tattoo of a hamburger on his leg the same day that I told him I was going to tell my mom I was getting divorced and also married. And he was like, don't tell her. And I was like, tight. And I literally was like, Mom, I have to tell you something. I got married. I'm also getting divorced. Jesse got a hamburger tattoo. Like, it was like that. Like, she was like, what is happening? Like, I don't know what to
dilute the news, though.
Yeah.
That's like releasing the 5 p.m. on a Friday, the big news story. It's like, and you got a tattoo, and that's it.
Yeah. I was like, go. So, yeah.
It's paperwork. I mean, it's not.
It is. Yeah, it's very easy. I don't want anything. Like, but it's also like, it took like 3 years, and then finally he was like, hey, we didn't do it right. And then like he got a lawyer to like help him, and then he was like, you can kind of talk to him. I don't know if it's like legal. So I'm now with his lawyer, like, who asked me if I like filed an acceptance with the court, and I was like, I thought that was implied when I told him I wanted to get divorced. He was just like, what? Looking at me like I'm an idiot. I was like, I've never gotten a divorce. Like, I don't really know. It's my first one, so I'm not sure.
And also, when like you don't want anything from each other, you don't have like shared assets. It's sort of like, can we just do this the easy way or what?
Yeah, but like there's not an easy way. Yeah. Like they don't go green, first of all, like at the courthouse.
Yeah.
They just like stacks, like a movie prop stack of papers. I was like, I don't know what to do. Do I have to send?
Am I supposed to read this?
Do I send you a stack of papers? Like, I don't know.
The system is built that so you need lawyers, and it's too bad. The whole marriage and divorce. I mean, like lawyers are the only people that make money on marriages and divorces, and they make more.
Or the
longer.
bitter ex-wife.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, which is like, I don't feel like I'm owed anything. So no, I don't want. Just like, let's just move on with our lives. But I did have to get this paperwork notarized, and so I was like, oh, I gotta get it notarized and then I'll send it. So I went to UPS next to my house, and this like 17-year-old stone kid is just like behind me. He's like, I'm a notary. I was like, okay. Anyone can be a notary. So I like bring him my papers. He's like, and what kind of papers are these? And I was like, they're divorce papers. And this kid looks up and is like, you're getting divorced? And I was like, we're not doing this. Like, why? We're not friends. There's like a kid with her child behind me, and I was like, I don't know. He's like, what happened?
Cut to like an hour later, and you're like, and it was 9 years, and then
I was just like, what? So I was like, things don't work out, and I was so uncomfortable because he was just like kept asking me that I left UPS and like went to the regular post office and like sent my papers.
Listen, this is this whole story. I know it's fresh and all that, but like for stand up, it makes you so likable just to be like a person who like how many it's like it's just a normal shit. Everyone's got it. Like we struggle with the idea of like getting our shit together because the success rate's abysmal with those types of things, and it's like, and it shouldn't even be a stat, because it's like marriage should really just be, I mean, it's more of a thing than it is paperwork, you know what I mean? That's just like the shitty side thing to it, is that you like legally you got all this bullshit
sometimes
to
it
do.
makes sense legally to do it, like if it legally makes sense for you to get married, like you should do it, and like, you know the consequences. Lesson learned.
But like, why don't they teach that kind of stuff? There should be a class.
I know,
right? I'm really frustrated that there's not like a class on like taxes, or like a class on like getting a lawyer, or like buying a house. Like all of this stuff is very complicated, and I feel like I would have to quit my job to spend a month studying to know how to buy a house,
how to get a lawyer. People are like, just get a lawyer, like Google lawyer near me. I don't understand. Like,
I literally was posting yesterday or the day before about like trying to get a lawyer, and I was like, I don't know what kind of lawyer I need. Do I need an entertainment lawyer? Someone wrote me back and was like, you need a lawyer with like experience in collections, and I was like, what is that?
What's Google's what is collections? Like, I don't know. No, I know. It's like, I get it. It's so much.
But so this all happens, you know, you're piecing back your identity, finding out who you are. And again, I apologize for prying.
No,
but it's kind of the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
We're prying. and it's also like, do you have PTSD sort of like warning, like triggers of like, you're going back into the dating world and you're like, don't make the same mistake kind of vibes?
No, well, I was very much like, it had been such a, like, we didn't talk for like 3 years. Like, it was married, going through divorce, and like I met my boyfriend now through a mutual friend. We were like working together, and I just kind of was very like, this is everything, like so brutally honest, and was like, go, just like, there you go, and
laid it all out.
Okay. And I was like, wait, what? I've never been like, so just like, this is all of my like shit, like, here, I don't care anymore at this point, like, I'm done, I'm just doing me. And then he was just like, that makes sense. And I was like, does it really?
It's a litmus test for a guy.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying Tasha's, you know, like, we started dating when, you know, late 20s, mid to late 20s, whatever. I'm not supposed to say ages, so I'm just being vague here. But we started dating, and like a normal dude who's just trying to fuck would have been like, peace on the first hiccup that we had.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, and I've been that guy because I know him. I've been the dude who's like, I'm in it, I'm out, peace, good luck, you'll be fine without me. But in this case, I was like, I'm coming back for more. I'm dealing with this bullshit. And you find like a ride or die who's kind of like, I get it, you got some flaws. I do too.
Yeah.
And that's something that kind of comes with age.
Yeah.
It's like, we kind of use the term settling, but it's like, you know, if we're settling for each other, you're probably settling for me more than I'm settling for you. Except when people know that how I have to deal with you when you're parking. Like last night, it's not settling. We're putting up. But it's like, you realize it's like, okay, you're kind of you're finding somebody who's going to like deal with your shit for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's your priority? I mean, your other option is to like have like had a hot and heavy, passionate something, and end up unhappy and divorced in a minute. You know, it's like you have to be with someone who's willing to overlook your flaws, because everybody has them. There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
Either you are like gonna work together and put in the work every day, make the decision, choose every day, I'm gonna make this person a priority, or you're not. And if you're not gonna do that anymore, then it's not working out.
But sometimes you question my priorities because like I'm like I got to go out and get funnier so I can book things and come home to, you know what I mean? And like, it's like if you wanted my priority at every moment, like if you wanted me to be home at every moment and be that proper, like we just watch Netflix and, you know, atrophy on the couch, I would just be the shittiest version of myself.
I never ask that of you.
No, I know, and I know. Like, I like that you can kind of like you do like to do your own thing, which is good. So it's not like too much pressure, but it also is like we go to see our friends yesterday. They got a 5-week-old. They got a house. Like they have everything that. Not that we were like want a kid, but like Tasha, you like really want to get a house. Like you really want to kind of have this proper sort of thing, and I totally get that. But I'm also like on my way. I'm like figuring it out. Yeah. But I also have like faith that no one else would have in me. You know what I mean? Like I've got faith that I'm doing the right things, but it sucks when you see people that might be even younger than us that like have their quote unquote shit together, but ours is just a little different. Sign up for the Patreon, folks. What I'm trying to say.
We're gonna buy that $1 million Los Angeles shack with our Patreon.
Because marriage, marriage isn't what I'm scared about. It's the wedding. We go to this wedding in Kentucky. 11 bridesmaids, 11 groomsmen. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, the DJ had good lights and all that was fun.
I don't know 11 people.
That's what I'm saying. And then they had photos. They're like, all right, who went to so-and-so high school? And they would all take a photo. Who went to Hancock College? And they would take a photo.
Kidding.
I'm like, you've got subsects of friends.
And they all get along. They went to Miami.
Wow. Do you guys both have big families?
Pretty big. Yeah, I got a big family.
You do?
Not really. I wouldn't call myself a big family person. I mean, we do have like an extended family that like, we see each other at the holidays and everybody's really tight, but family, it's not like, well, I guess.
That's my boyfriend's family is like that. And then I have like 2 people.
Really?
It's it. Like no cousins. Like really, yeah, real small. So
no cousins or anything, or just like, that you don't talk, like, you don't know them.
I have like 2 cousins, and then the rest are like estranged. Like yeah, it's like, but it's weird to me to like think about that. But like you guys could have that really. Like you could have like people coming together. Like there could be people.
Oh no, totally.
Neither of us wants anything like that at all.
We're not worried about like I could fill some seats. Okay, I got uncles. I got cousins. I got a weird big fan. Like I do. My
yeah. How are we gonna keep our wedding very small?
That's the thing. That's
are you not allowed to invite your family?
You should have it somewhere that people have to like buy a ticket.
Yeah, that's 100%
not just
plan.
a ticket, but like a ticket that's gonna like price out some of my relatives.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But yeah, it'll be somewhere that's like either Passport or like it'll be farther away. But yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a bringer show. You have a wedding. It comes with the you could
just go to the courthouse. Honestly,
I
know from experience, it's super.
It's pretty easy,
intimate. It's intimate.
Ask for Nancy. She's got a cloak on with a notary gun or whatever. We got to get out of here because we're approaching an hour. Okay. I wanted you to pitch your podcast. Tell us what it's all about.
It's Sorry Mom. It's just my friend Sydney and I talk shit for like an hour. That's it. It's really just
and
like
you hope Mom
bullshitting.
Doesn't listen.
Yeah, my mom is like, it's just it's some vulgar shit. People write in advice on relationships or whatever. Yeah, it's just
what's
bullshit.
your expertise on advice? Like what do you think you're like really can offer something?
I don't feel underqualified to be honest with you, but I will give a funny response that's honest to me. I've seen some shit. I've been through some shit. I feel like I can see with an objective eye.
And that's the best part about like we'll have people ask us for advice, and the best part isn't that we know what we're talking about. Yeah. It's that we have no reason to lie to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How much bad advice do you get from relatives, like sisters
or your friends that don't want to hurt your feelings? Yeah, exactly. But they're like, get rid of that loser.
Yeah, I have no skin in the game for
They'll
me.
literally tell you what you want to hear to get the conversation to end. Like Tasha, have you been given advice from your friends about me, like geared towards like because if you're in a fight with me,
all my friends like you.
I doubt it.
Or they're pretending.
Can't say the same. No, they're good. They're good people. They're fine. But anyway, so I want everyone to go check out your. Again, it's called
Sorry Mom.
Sorry Mom.
Yeah.
And
it's on YouTube.
How long have you done it for?
I think we're gonna do our 37th.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's
That's
fun.
quite an accomplishment.
It's a fun way to like connect with people.
Yeah,
it's our community sandbox. It's like all we have.
Yeah, and it's also like, we put our phones down for a fucking hour and like look in each other's eyes and
plug
talk to each other
and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Truthfully, like
it's really important.
It's so important. How much closer are you with your best friend that you get to talk and do the bullshit, and how much closer are we that we get to do this every week is
it's timestamped. She can't walk away or else I win. If I call her out on something, she walks away. I go, I guess I won. 7 minutes in.
Boom.
You've got a dog too. You guys gotta be old dog lady.
You want to go for a dog hike or something?
Oh my god, my dog's not friendly.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, one of them is with me. I have a German Shepherd and a pit bull. The pit is like such a fucking rowdy cunt. Your dog is so sweet, and then my dog gets really protective of my other dog and me. So then he's just like goes crazy. It's bad.
But you got a long hair. You said it's a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Long haired.
Yeah. He's my baby. He's real cute.
Big.
I know.
How big is your dog? The German Shepherd?
90 pounds.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like a small horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. It's like having a child. Yeah.
How old?
Too. They're both 4.5.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, young.
Boone's 10.
He's an
I know.
old
Does he look like a
man.
10-year? He doesn't look.
He looks 6.
Yeah.
Looking good for your age,
Looking
Boone.
good.
When your legs are that short, you don't age as poorly because you're just like sitting on the ground the whole time. All right, what's your Instagram again? It's Nikki _Howard. Is that right?
That's it. Yeah, NIKK_Howard.
Everyone go send Nikki some love on Instagram.
Thanks,
go
guys.
listen and folks, listen. This is what you got to do. If it's only 2 or 3 people, it's every subscriber is important. Go. You're listening to this one, so you're already on your podcast app. Go over to her podcast. Click subscribe. Go check it out. Go support anyone who's on our podcast. Go support theirs. That's how it all works. And you guys have a Patreon too.
We do. Sorry, Mom. Podcast, I think it is.
And you're still trying to figure out what the fuck it is.
Yeah, I don't know how to. There's tears. That's all I know.
We just started doing a level that's postcards. So we just send people postcards.
We're gonna start doing that.
But
I know,
Yeah, it's
sick.
so cool. Like old style. Like it's like ancient now to like actually handwrite a
fun.
note.
I
It's
love it.
really exciting.
It's so narcissistic to think that someone would actually want to see us on our postcards. But it's like it's like, all right, but if you do, this is the level. Like I was saying that she should have a fuck you level. Because if it's like 2, good looking ladies that have a pie, have a fuck you level. Have $1,000 you get to sit on the thing. Whatever. Just so you know what I mean? Like not in a creepy way, but we
sit
have
on the what?
Get to sit on. You're gonna sit in and watch a live
or
tape.
something?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
You
cool
probably don't
idea.
want people to know where you live.
So weird.
But our top level is we make homemade soap. It's called Tada Soap for Tasha and Dave. So we make awesome homemade soap. So we'll give you some on the way out.
Yes, I
And-
love handmade soap. it's probably the most excited anyone's ever got, but I really do
No,
love it.
people love it. So like if we can provide joy to people, it's easy. I mean, it's a process, but we hand make it all here, and we have different like the one we give you is like peppermint with rose clay in it, so it's pink, and the rose clay is like really good for the skin. I mean, it's the thing I have to warn people: don't like hold on to it because it looks cute. Use it.
Use it.
Use
Yeah.
it.
It's good
really
stuff.
good.
Oh my God.
It makes you like you see that old Irish Spring shit. They're a sponsor. Hey, Irish Spring. They're like that stuff's like no good. Like homemade soap with the coconut oils. Like we use a lot of that. It's good. So anyway, we'll give you some of that. So check that out. I'm done hawking my
100%
stuff. And thank
So
you guys.
excited.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank
we
you for
appreciate
having
it.
me. This is great.
Nikki Howard, everybody. This is the Sap. Bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
Get that soap.
I can't believe you guys. I love you guys. I'm so excited.